In the world of video games, every game is compared to another as similarities bring about comprehension, and every game that hard is just Dark Souls. There are very few games which cannot be described by the listing of other games, and to create such seems to be too much of a risk for most developers. But what about Fortnite? Nah, I am not allowing that. So instead, allow me to welcome you all to the Blurbs Cosmosphere, where we will be looking at the most unique video game systems. Here in the dynamic system, we view games that alter around the player, wherein your choices seem to have a direct impact on the game world as objects and characters shift in order to accommodate your presence. Our first arrival is at Rain World. In Rain World, your only objective is to survive. And maybe have some swag. Many other games hold this at their core, but Rain World puts you in the center of a dynamic food chain, forcing you to think about the game world in an entirely new way. Humans are always at the top of the food chain because of our ingenuity and intelligence, but when playing as this slug cat, you are forced to see the game world in a different light. You aren't at the top. There are many creatures that inhabit these lands that are smarter and stronger than you, animals that can communicate amongst each other and can learn patterns and navigate more effectively. You are in the middle of an interlocking food chain, meaning that you have to pick your battles as it pertains to acquiring food and retreating before it's too late. Next up, we land at the Outer Wilds planet. Outer Wilds is a game about discovering space, being a pioneer in a universe that is unexplored. The gameplay is the movement of the universe, and you are merely a piece of it. Forced to follow its flow, you become a scientist of its solar systems in order to uncover its secret and decipher its puzzles. It not only creates an immersive and dynamic gameplay experience, but also changes the concept of what playing a game can be. By giving you the tools and knowledge necessary, it allows you to enact the scientific method across its intricate galaxy, filling the player's mind with wonder and creating something entirely unique. The final dynamic locale is the Stanley Parable. The Stanley Parable would probably be better suited for the funny category, but we don't have a funny category, so it's in this one. Its silliness is what makes it so unique. The game is read out like a story from a narrator speaking over your gameplay. You can choose to follow exactly what he says, or you can deviate from the path whenever you please. The world adapts to your choices, and the narrator gets frustrated or joyous depending on how you decide to navigate his instructions. What sets the Stanley Parable apart, though, is its intense commitment to making you laugh. Very few games actually succeed in this front, and the Stanley Parable does so all while making the player feel like they contributed to writing the joke due to the dynamic systems built into the game. Next, we enter the Traversal System. The game worlds on display here allow the player to move through them in all new manners, and while many other games attempt to create unique forms of traversal, I believe that these games do it the best. The most immediate example of this type of game is our first destination, Flower. Flower allows you to float along in the wind as you control the petal of a flower. It's made by the same people who made Journey and Abzu and harnesses that same free-form momentum. It's an incredibly freeing and meditative experience to be puffed along by a breeze, feeling like you're in control of the uncontrollable. It's a step back from the action and a truly remarkable experience to take in. Up next in the pantheon of planets is Mario Galaxy. Traversing Mario Galaxy's bite-sized planets allows the player to truly take in the idea of gravity as you catapult through its tightly crafted spaces. Each planet offers up puzzles and ideas, all centered around this unique traversal mechanic, forcing the player to think about a dimension and a system that no other game has grounded in the same way. In Mario Galaxy, Mario has true weight, and the traversal system is you understanding this weight and how it correlates to each planet he may be thrust upon. Puzzles being designed around this use of gravity just makes it all the more satisfying. The final and arguably most unique form of video game traversal is in Before Your Eyes. Before Your Eyes displays that traversal isn't just a movement mechanic, it can also be a time mechanic, as the player's physical blinking moves the game forward in time. By blinking, you progress throughout the story and throughout your character's life. This time traversal mechanic can work for you at points, but often ends up working against you as you seem to fight against it in order to take in the full story. It is an incredibly weird sensation to battle back natural body function in order to experience a video game, but the emotional meaning behind it all makes it come full circle. Our final destination is the Anomaly System. The worlds here don't even feel like they should exist. They are anomalies of games, ones which sound rather boring in concept but turn out to be immersive and dense. In the Anomaly System, we first set off to Papers, Please. Papers, Please may sound boring, as hardly anyone ever dreams of working for the TSA, but it is a deep and thoughtful game. At first, you are working to keep your job by monitoring who goes in and who stays out of your country based on select information. One slip-up can mean the end of your job, but that's what makes it so satisfying, as you turn into a machine who looks out for small details. As the game progresses, morality and bias come into play, as you are forced to make difficult decisions, forcing you to realize how much of a machine you have turned into. It all points back on real-life situations and scenarios, and really makes you think. Which is something that I don't do all that often. It's funny because he's dumb. Next, we planet hop on over to Pentiment. At first, Pentiment may sound like the most uninteresting game of all time, and that's just because it is. But I still really like Pentiment. It's strange how good a walking and talking simulator set in the medieval era around Catholic discourse can be. I kept feeling like there would be a big shift, something that would make the game more mainstream, but no. It was entirely what it set out to be, and that's awesome. By doing that, it became one of the most unique and weird games I have ever played. Our final Anomaly destination is in Tunic. Tunic is a game unlike any other, in which you are forced to learn a new language, discover the meaning of items, and even decipher the game's manual. Nothing in Tunic is explained, and everything is left for you to unfurl. No hand is held, and the world is actively fighting your ability to gain knowledge. Overcoming this and unwrapping the puzzles of Tunic is really what the game is. It feels daunting at first and seems overwhelming from a distance, but chipping away at this intricate and ornate system makes you feel like a true genius and makes Tunic one of the most unique games I have ever experienced. Now, as we exit the Blurbs Cosmosphere, we are able to think back on the separation that these games create from the status quo. What makes these games all truly unique is the quality level that they bring with their varied ideas. It would be easier to iterate on an established formula, to add new ideas to something that you already know is going to be successful, but these games all take a big risk by creating something different, and they do so with quality at the forefront of their design. As the player, it is such a joy to delve into a game world that feels foreign, that feels creative, that feels unique, and I'm just so glad that these developers decided to go against the grain.